I invite you to take part in an experiment of universal significance, which opens up infinity to us human beings. In a real metamorphosis, you transform from a physical to a non-material creature. We experience the birth of a new being living eternally, a spirit man, the overman, a cosmic giant who lives with his body on earth and with his soul in heaven. To show this metamorphosis more vividly, let us look at 3 examples. You transform, like a caterpillar, which turns into a butterfly. Like the butterfly in the caterpillar, the soul into which you are to transform is already existent and implanted within you. It is just still small and weak and hidden deep inside you. You must let it grow out of there. When Eric Carle, the creator of the famous children's book The Very Hungry Caterpillar, was asked how he explained the huge worldwide success of his book, he replied something like this: "Everyone feels that a much greater, stronger, and more beautiful being is hidden within him, and is happy when he succeeds to express it." You too are filled with the longing to help the higher, the more beautiful, the better part of your being to break through. In the novella The Metamorphosis, Franz Kafka describes the transformation of the harmless salesman Gregor Samsa into a kind of beetle. Let us listen to the first sentences. As Gregor Samsa awoke one morning from uneasy dreams, he found himself transformed in his bed into a monstrous insect. He was lying on his hard, as it were, armor-plated back, and when he lifted his head a little, he could see his dome-like brown belly, divided into stiff, arched segments, on top of which the bed quilt could hardly keep in position and was about to slide off completely. His numerous legs, which were pitifully thin compared to the rest of his bulk, waved helplessly before his eyes. Why are you telling me this creepy story? To make it clear that you, too, are changing completely. The old Adam dies, and a new being is born. May you wake up tomorrow morning not as a hideous monster, but as a great, strong, and beautiful man of spirit. The movie Avatar depicts how the consciousness of paraplegic US Marine Jake Sully is transferred into an alien body. In this vehicle he feels reborn and can suddenly walk again. Similarly, after the transformation you find yourself in the shape of a spirit being, in a new form of life, which offers you much greater possibilities than the old one, your body. The butterfly, Gregor Samsa, and Jake Sully look down at themselves in amazement and realize, that is me. This is what I look like now. You now perceive your higher self, however not in the mirror, but before your spiritual eyes, and realize, this is me, this is what I look like now. In the case of the chestnut, the butterfly, and with Kafka, the metamorphosis takes place overnight by itself and unconsciously. In the movie Avatar, through technical means. With you, it is different. You yourself bring about the transformation through your own spiritual power. The new man will not be born. Your cooperation is required to bring him to life. Without our active collaboration, it is impossible for mankind to reach the next stage of evolution. The immortal man is a work of art that you create yourself, like a sculptor, from the material of your eternal individuality. We intend to describe this process in summary form in this introduction. The details will be discussed in the subsequent broadcastings. We have already talked about the first two steps. I have a soul and I am a soul. Now we shall progress further on the path to immortality. First, you change your identity. Up to today you were a material. Now you are a spiritual being. You are no longer the body you look at in the mirror. You are the soul that you cannot see, but whose existence inside you feel with certainty. In order to render this change of identity conspicuous, you should give the being you wish to be in the future its own name. A new identity requires a new name. Until now, you were called Mary Smith or James Baker. These names, however, refer to your old transient personality, which will no longer be in existence in just a few years. Call your new ego, which lives forever, for example, Anima. You now identify with Anima, no longer with Mary Smith or James Baker. To continue the transformation, you drag your consciousness out of your body and transfer it into your soul. Just like Jake Sully's consciousness is moved into the alien body. Now your ego is no longer the body, but the soul. When you think or speak of yourself, from now on, you mean Anima. Imagine your being of spirit somewhat larger than your physical body. Your consciousness is now dwelling outside, above the body. Your consciousness ascends. It moves, so to speak, from a lower, the material, to a higher, the spiritual level. This is like at a near-death experience, when the patient, from above, from the ceiling of the room, watches his body lying on the operating table below. You look at the world with completely different eyes, namely, with your spiritual senses, with the eyes of the soul. From up there you look at what is happening down on earth, at your fellow man, and also at you yourself, at your transient personality. You take a higher standpoint. You view the transient things, sub specie eternitatis, as the ancient Romans so beautifully said, from the point of view of eternity. From up there, Anima directs the four expressions of your transient personality, your thoughts, feelings, words, and deeds, just as a charioteer steers his four steeds. This consciousness of self is the indispensable basis for the further development of your soul. It must recognize itself as an individual being of its own, different from all the others. Just as a baby that lived in the womb in symbiosis with its mother must recognize after birth that it is a separate being, independent from her. A creature which is not aware of itself, such as an animal, cannot consciously advance its own development either. The transformation into a spiritual being reaches the limits of my imagination. How can I become a creature that is non-material and invisible? Well, instead of saying you create a new being, we may also put it differently. You bring to life a creature that already exists, but is slumbering deep inside you. Anima, your soul. This being exists. It is just invisible. There's nothing to be done about that. Just as the personality Jake Sully is present in the body of the alien and is his true self, even if you cannot see it. It is not so difficult at all to lead your eternal self out of the depths in which it is stuck. For we are not talking about some alien being, but about your own individual soul, different from all the others. Anima is alive since time immemorial. You only have to become aware of its existence and allow it to begin to lead its life. A baby becomes aware of itself and awakens to its life when it discovers its body and realizes what it can do with it. A soul becomes aware of itself and awakens to its life as soon as it perceives itself and realizes that it has spiritual senses and spiritual powers that it can use. So far we have only talked about a change in my consciousness. That is not enough. Just because I think or fancy that I am a soul, I am not yet a being of spirit in reality. Just as I am not Napoleon, just because I think or fancy I am Napoleon. Yes, you are right. You have to actually transform, like the caterpillar, into a butterfly, which learns to fly what the caterpillar is not capable to do. At the moment, your soul merely exists, but it is not yet alive. I don't understand. What is the difference between existing and living? Well, a creature that is in a sleep-like state is locked up in the prison of the body, does not express itself, and is not recognizable from the outside, has no will of its own, or at any rate does not assert it, neither appears nor acts on earth, and neither develops nor uses its abilities. Such a being, after all, is merely vegetating, or not really living. This is how your soul is doing. Its life is completely suppressed or superseded by the body. What can I do to free my soul and open the way to its life? The crucial question. This brings us to the central point of experiment immortality. If you want to become a soul, you must learn to lead the life of your soul. The life of the rider, not that of the tool, the donkey, which you have led until today. The life of the soul alone is worth living. The life of your eternal individuality is very different from that of your transient personality. Anima has much greater possibilities and strives for quite different goals. What does it mean, in concrete terms, to lead the life of my soul? Two things. Firstly, if you want to be a soul, you must also express this new form of life and let it appear on the stage of the earthly world. What do you mean by appear? You learn to think, feel, speak and act as your being of spirit wills. Anima thinks, feels, speaks and acts. No longer Mary Smith or James Baker. You are what you think. If you think, feel, speak and act like Napoleon, you are like Napoleon. Secondly, your soul lives truly only if it uses its possibilities, if it develops the qualities and abilities that a being of spirit has and which are already existing in the bud. You no longer have to strengthen the donkey, because it is already fully grown, but the rider, who is still small and weak. If you have the qualities and abilities of Napoleon, you are a Napoleon. We shall now be talking about these two aspects of the life of your soul in more detail. Let us look at some examples of the thinking and acting of a being of spirit. As long as you are still a mortal, you think, I say or do this or that, or I go here or there. But that is wrong, because on the material plane, you, your real self, anima, as a spiritual being, does not say or do anything and does not go anywhere. So, learn to think like an immortal. That goes like this. I, namely the soul, in order to fulfill my mission, impel my earthly tool, the body, to say or to do this or that, or cause him to go here or there. When you are driving a car and the petrol at the petrol station you are just passing is too expensive, you drive on. Your car will have to get along with what fuel it has for another while. In the same way, you have to treat your perishable personality. The spirit decides whether, when, what and how much food your body gets. When his stomach growls, the old mortal man thinks, I am hungry. Anima, your immortal part, does not think like that. As a spiritual creature, it has no need nor even appetite for food, because every intake of material food weighs down its etheric being. So your soul thinks, my tool, my brother donkey, is demanding nourishment. Is it really absolutely necessary to supply my vehicle with fuel again? Will not the last filling suffice for a while? When you have a wound, you used to think, I am hurt. Your spirit being does not think like that. It is not affected by injuries to the body. Anima thinks, my vehicle seems to be damaged. Do I have to repair it immediately, or is it going to last a while longer? The mortal man is afraid when threatened with death, because he deems the end of his existence approaching. Your true eternal individuality does not know this feeling, because it is not affected by the death of the body at all, no more than the rider by the demise of his donkey. Nobody and nothing can harm you. Are you impatient or irritated? This is an expression of your transient personality. For your true being, such a feeling is absurd, as in eternity it has infinite time to wait patiently and to try again when conditions are ripe. You see, through a new way of thinking, feeling, speaking, and acting, you bring about a real transformation of your nature. Achieving immortality is a spiritual exercise. How do I know how the soul thinks and what it wants? Here we are at a crucial question. Listen to your heart. The heart is the most important organ of your eternal individuality. It tells you infallibly what anima wants. It warns beforehand and complains afterwards about every thought, feeling, word, or action that is unworthy of your higher nature. So you deny the most divine if you do not mind the advice given by the heart. Therefore, the education of the heart is the very basis for your transformation into an immortal. Education of the intellect without education of the heart is no education at all. Leading the life of the soul means living from the heart. What do I have to do practically? Direct all your thoughts, feelings, words, and deeds through the heart. Purify them in the fire of your heart before you allow them to come up. Unfortunately, most people ignore or suppress the voice of their heart and trample on their soul until it ceases to budge altogether. Now we are coming to the second aspect of the life of your eternal individuality. You must acquire the qualities and abilities of a being of spirit. Achievements such as invulnerability, fearlessness, freedom, vitality, and joy of being are at the moment only laid out within you as a potential. Whether you are actually free from fear only becomes apparent at the next dangerous situation. For the time being, your soul is still small and weak and fearful, even though it is invulnerable. You can and must bring up your eternal individuality like a small child, by making it great, strong, and beautiful. A baby learns to know its body, takes possession of it, uses it by employing its physical powers and physical senses, and begins to walk and to talk. In the same way, you have to get to know your eternal individuality, take possession of it, and use it. An idea difficult to understand. How can I make use of my soul? You begin to employ your spiritual powers and your spiritual senses. Here are some examples of what a developed soul can do. As a non-material being, the soul is not bound by the limitations of matter, time, and space. It can pass through walls and close doors. It can see through solid objects as with X-rays and read enclosed books. It can levitate, i.e. rise above the ground like Saint Joseph of Cupertino and other saints. Walk on water like Jesus. Sit on water like a yogi. Walk through fire. And even fly. The soul is immune to disease. It has master's telekinesis, that is like Uri Geller, it can move objects with its mental power alone. It can transmit thoughts like a transmitting station and receive and understand thoughts like a radio. It can understand foreign languages and converse with animals like Saint Francis of Assisi. It can heal like Jesus with pure spiritual power. And predict the future like a prophet. Miracles, or rather higher skills of this kind, as reliably reported from the life of Jesus and numerous saints, are nothing else but the entirely natural consequence of the training of the spiritual powers and the spiritual senses of our eternal individuality. Within each of us, there is already today the germ of these possibilities. Other people are only ahead of us in their development. The goal of the education of your higher self is you grow from a small to a great soul, to a Mahatma. Do you muster the will and the energy to realize the dreams of your childhood and transform into a being of wonderful greatness, strength, beauty, and dignity?